How's everybody doing today? Welcome back to They're Not Bad Pod. I'm your host, Jack, here today with Luke and Ian. Last night we had our first contest of the season against the Central Connecticut State University Blue Devils, and we had a decisive win. Luke, what do you think about last night?
First off, new segment alert. Ding, 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 new segment alert. Do want to ask the boys first, are we bad? Is the team bad? I'm going to go, after seeing that first game, I'm going to say no.
I'm going to say no as well. I'm going to agree with you. Hard
I'm
agree.
also say they're not bad.
All right, I mean, we'll take that. I mean, it's game one, CCSU, so I hope the answer would be no, that they're not bad. But we'll see after you, Hart, if it's still the same answer.
To be fair, if we didn't beat that CCSU team by 20, I would have said we're bad.
Yeah.
Like we legitimately have 10 starters. Like, it's absurd.
We'll
get into that later.
Yeah.
Right.
And then another new segment alert, ding, ding, ding. New segment alert, ding, ding, ding. The name of the podcast is They're Not Bad. So I'm going to say, Are We Bad? And point out some of the mistakes from episode 1.
Wait, can I vote? Can I vote on if we're bad or not?
Or us personally?
Yeah, I want to vote.
After I read the mistakes, you can vote if we're bad. And the answer
I like that.
All right, so the first one, we were going through starting lineups. I forgot if you guys had him, but I had Tyrese Martin in the lineup. Nobody did research and looked up the fact that he was not eligible to play in the first game of the season. So bad on us for that one. I think he will start against you, Hart, though. So, Jack, big mistake by you. You threw us way off by saying, "Hey, let's start with the backcourt," and then immediately asked me who was starting at the 5.
That's on me. That's enough.
Haven't played organized basketball since sophomore year of high school, but backcourt is usually the guards.
Usually.
But we can run with it. I got a little nervous talking about the betting stuff because I don't sports gamble. I just pretend to make picks. And then I called the spread the over/under. That was just a brain that was bad. So
it was a little brain toot, little brain.
And again, I think I'm doing it better right now. But yesterday, talking into the mic was not my strong suit. Talking into a computer, so I don't know where I'm talking. But I got to talk into the mic better. Other than that, thought we did all right, but definitely some rookie mistakes out there. So I'm gonna ask you guys: are we bad?
A little bad.
A little bad.
I'm looking at my background. I don't know if
that's bad.
On YouTube can see. I'm going to say I'm bad at least. You guys figure it out.
This is for sure bad. That's for sure bad. That's terrible.
Bad. That is.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. Luke didn't point out any errors for me because I mean, come on. Am I really going to make a mistake? Never.
I know
I will say we're kind of bad.
I know we have 10 viewers, but I delayed the start of the recording for 30 minutes trying to figure this out. And
final product right there.
I haven't really figured
That's it. Ladies and gents, this is the final product of 30 minutes of trying to pick a virtual background. This is what you will get. Just for reference, Jack and I took 30 seconds. That's being conservative. I think it was more like 10.
And this is 45 minutes, but we're work in progress. So let's get into the game. I thought they looked good. I'm going to toot my own horn here. I called the game pretty spot on. Said it would be ugly in the start, end on a little run, and then come out swinging on the second half. The bets, I was right on the spread. Actually called it exactly, so screw you guys. But way off on the points. But we'll talk about the betting later. Jack, what did you think about the game?
I think overall there was a lot of good to see. Offensively, we shot at just under a 40% clip from the 3. We are lacking, we didn't have a Cook. We were lacking big. We went small ball. We're allowed to do that. We're able to because we're playing against CCSU, a team that doesn't have those bigs. But once we get into Big East play, we're going to have to start playing more of our big men. Josh Carlton didn't see a lot of time. Adama Sanogo, who I was very high on, I really liked what we saw out of him. He got 17 minutes. I think he had 8 points and around 6 boards. And I really liked the way he played. Sure. He got in there. He's not afraid to bang around. Other than that, I think our defense was a little bit lacking. Dan Hurley did address this in the press conference post-game and said with the 2 weeks they had to take off from practicing, there's just no way they'd be ready to have their defense at full force after that. But I think very promising look from the game.
I saw a tweet saying that they're going to try to make it if you miss 2 weeks because of COVID that you won't play a game in that week following.
That's what Dan Hurley suggested. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be
So
pretty huge.
hopefully they do get that, and then around college basketball too. That's pretty obvious, I think, but it just depends on actual scheduling with conferences and stuff. But it's going to be a wild year with COVID. So
With COVID, I think actually college basketball is a sport that can benefit from missing games because end of the year, the committee decides. There's no there's automatic bids, but also with the committee deciding, with teams playing less games and stuff, the committee still decides who makes it. So it'll be tougher for the committee, but they'll still be able to pick 68 teams to make the tournament.
The committee, it will be very divisive. People will be getting very mad online, big mad online at the end of the year when it comes down to bubble teams. Also, the fact that there's not Ivy League's not playing, and I feel like maybe it's the Patriot League or some other league isn't playing, so there's extra at-large bids. So that's going to get weird.
And automatic bids that are gone.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Those just turn into at-large bids. They don't get automatic. They don't turn to automatics for other places. So, as for the game, I'm gonna do some pluses and some minuses. Biggest plus for me, Adama Sanogo. Andre Jackson's supposed to be the all-time world beater NBA talent, but Sanogo looked ready to play, and I think putting Jackson as a little minus, but that's kind of due to expectations. Everyone expected him to be a stud, and I think in the first half he got very flustered. He looked out of sorts. He touched the ball 3 times, and he had 2 turnovers and a foul, I'm pretty sure. That's not a great start. In the second half, he did look better. Fair enough to him. But Sanogo, big plus for me. Plus Isaiah Whaley back on his grind. Boardman gets paid. Chilling at his productive, 10, 12 points, 7, 8 rebounds, floating on the double-double number. Love to see that. Obviously, Book Night was Book Night. But the other big plus was Cole. I'm surprised how many points he scored with also leading the team in assists. We like that. We like leading in assists, especially with Book and Polly, and we have so many scores. But also the fact that he put up 17, very nice. So Cole and Sanogo, big pluses, and Jackson, small minus.
You think Cole looked a little lackadaisical out there yesterday?
First half, I think he looked not as clean. I think he had 3 or 4 turnovers by just me counting, while I watched the game. So that I did not
4
like.
Turnovers. 6 assists, 4 turnovers.
But then it seemed like in the second half that it got much cleaner. It was very different UConn team second half.
I told you guys that I wasn't high on him, and I'm weary, and I still will be weary until conference play really begins. But I think he looked a little out of it in the first half. But I will say I was overall impressed with him. The defense he played kind of reminded me of when Al-Tariq was actually healthy and in the right mindset, being a pestering defender. I thought that RJ Cole is going to be a huge defender on other teams' point guards, and point guards are going to run the Big East, even though there are some good big men. So I think he is going to be a huge factor. I was happy with him. Brendan Adams, another guy I'm not too high on. Again, I think he's a good role player to be in there. I know something came out about him being in the starting 5. Jack, you sent that over, but he shot well. And again, it's CCSU, but if he continues to shoot well, I'd love to have him be 7th or 8th guy off the bench and just shoot. We need shooters. Last year, we couldn't shoot. And then the last thing, Book Night, he proved it. I know it's CCSU, but he's good.
He's a lottery pick. Book Night's a lottery pick.
Right.
I'm going to say it.
While I slightly disagree with Brendan Adams starting, just seeing Cole play along with Book Night, and I'd like Gaffney in there as a role play guard. I will say other 2 things I really liked. I know it's CCSU, so taking shooting into account is kind of weird, but we shot 38.5% from 3.
Mm-hmm.
Unless the teams are literally leaving you wide open on every shot, shooting that well percentage is usually a pretty good indicator for the year. Also shooting 56% from the floor. And I think the biggest thing with that was putbacks, easy layups. I lost track counting how many times Whaley and Sanogo had easy putbacks and layups, just being under there for boards or being there to dish when they doubled Book. I think Book was finding the open man decently well. And also we were getting good putbacks and boards. Love it. Love that as well.
Last thing I will say about this team, I do think when we get into the Big East season, we're going to see more of a drop off between who plays and who doesn't play legitimate minutes. But Josh Carlton, he was a starter the past 2 years, like played a lot of minutes, and he barely sniffed the court yesterday. And I think that just shows how promising it is. Obviously, Carlton was pretty bad last year, but Isaiah Whaley and Sonogo, I think that just shows the promise for them too. So I think we're in good hands.
We are definitely in good hands. And what I'll say with that is we had 9 players play over 15 minutes, and that's without Tyrese Martin and then a Cook eventually coming back. So that's very promising. To have an 11 deep roster is something that'll be great. Defensively on the side of the ball, I'm thinking that with our guards' ability on defense, like you're saying, Big East will be a point guards league. We got RJ Cole, Brendan Adams, and Jalen Gaffney. They can D up. We could have someone in there just dogging their point guard the entire game. Like just sub them out, let them rest, and just high pressure on their point guards the entire game. Even Andre Jackson in there in Book Night, although those are more, guarding the shooting guards. But I think that we could really put a lot of pressure on point guards. And I'm interested to see if we'll develop some sort of either half court or even a full court press at times, because it is an athletic UConn team.
I mean, I liked Hurley coming out with a full court press. Just
right. That's what I said. They came out in the full court.
On him. I know he's probably going to do that against UHart too, just because of the level of competition and really put it to him first. But I'd even like to see that against better teams. I hope he does do it because, again, I think we have a deep enough team to just throw guys at you consistently. As long as Book Night or Whaley is out there, I'm pretty comfortable with the other 4 because I think the ball has to go through Book Night when he's on the court. But other than that, I think we can throw a lot of people on the court at times.
Fair enough. I would say the 2 things like coming out of the game that I'm like curious about is, does Sonogo hold up in the Big East? Because I mean, CCSU size, like we looked huge compared to CCSU. Like I was looking at it and I was like, and I remember Luke was texting me the game. Yes, and Luke was like, Ty probably looks 7 feet tall. And then I looked on the court and I was like, you're right. He looks like maybe 9 feet tall. Like they all looked huge compared to them. Like Sonogo looked like a brick wall out there. Like, but when you get to the Big East and you have real 5s, like can he still get his 20 minutes? 8 points, 5 boards. Like because if he's coming off the bench and doing that, then like I don't know what like else you can ask out of him as a freshman. Like, and I love that we finally recruited someone who is big coming to UConn, and we don't have to get him big. Like UConn always falls into that trap of like recruiting the skinniest 7-footers of all time. Like, I mean, Bryman, a Cook out of recent memory just like fit that bill so perfectly. And even like our guards are pretty small usually. So I like that he's big. And also the only other thing I'm curious about is like, where does Martin fit into this lineup? Just because he didn't play and we looked super deep. So, like, where does he go? Like, where does he slot in now? Because we literally played, 10 or 11 people for significant minutes, and it looked good doing that. Like, nobody looked gassed. We were fresh legs all the time. So I'm curious to where, like, if he plays tomorrow, like, where's he going to go? How many minutes? Like, and, like, is he playing a 3 or is he playing a 2? That'd be interesting.
Along with that, it's also when you get to Big East play, will Carlton have to play more minutes because will we need to have a bigger lineup? Because we can't run the lineup we ran yesterday in the Big East. It's just – I think it's just not a big enough lineup to really do it. I don't know your guys' thoughts on that.
Just think Carlton – I like that Florida game last year. I was like, Josh Carlton is our guy, and you guys know I have hard feelings about him. But it's hard to say because we're going to need big men in the Big East. When he was on the court yesterday, he didn't look great, but he'll play minutes. It's just a point of hopefully having Sonogo and Whaley around him will push him, and he'll have some minutes to play in the Big East. But I don't know how much he will continue to play the court, or we don't even know because he was a starter the past 2 years. Maybe there was something else because he only played 2 minutes. That's as much as Andrew Hurley. So. I don't know.
Did that hit your over, Ian? For the
just
Andrew
saying, I just did I say Andrew Hurley was going to get on the floor? Absolutely, I did. My biggest prediction. My biggest prediction on Wednesday.
He was under the 3-minute line you set though.
True. Fair enough. The only other thing I guess I would say to this game is, like Carlton in the future, if he really isn't the starter, and that's really our lineup. Let's say it's Martin instead of Gaffney, maybe, and that's starting five from last night. Would be we need him to eat fouls because I think the biggest downside of like Whaley is fouls because he plays bigger than his size, which comes with a pretty high risk of drawing fouls and foul trouble. And that was something like, especially our big guys after Cook went down last year, was like I think a pretty big issue for us. We were kind of forced into a 3-guard lineup a lot of times because like Whaley and Carlton would pick up a quick 2 in the first half each, and it was like we have nowhere else to go. So if a Cook comes back plus Sanogo, if Carlton can put in 10 quality minutes, eat fouls in the middle, be physical, get some boards, I think that's fine, and just be, a mentor to like the younger guys. I think that's like a great role for him, to be honest. I think he would fit a lot better.
All right, so let's just get into Friday. We'll talk about tomorrow. Hart, I want to hear what you guys are thinking for tomorrow night.
Jack, go for it.
So, betting wise, last game I was right. I had the over and I had the spread. So I was 2 for 2. Luke and Ian were both 1 for 2. So we got the spread for this game is UConn minus 22. So I think they're going to cover that. I said they're going to win by 30 last night. They won by 27. I think they're going to win by 30 this night. I think they got some of those first game jitters out their way. Hart, obviously a better team than CCSU. They're in a good conference. Well, not a good conference. that's a lie. But they're in a conference that is somewhat competitive. What's the conference? I know that the UMBC is in Vermont.
America East, dude.
America
they have Vermont in their conference, dude. A perennial
Shout out Jake
NCAA
Marsh.
tournament team, bro. Come on.
Shout out my boy Jake Marsh.
Shout out PNT Sports.
Get Jake Marsh on the pod.
I'd love it.
Yeah. But I think that now that we kind of know what's going on, that I think so we'll cover, and the over is at 144. I think that's right, Ian.
Yeah, that's the last time I checked. These lines will probably shift tomorrow because the game's tomorrow night again.
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
I'm taking over on that too.
Because the closing line of the UConn game was 27.5, by the way, and that would be a CCSU cover. We were at 26 because we were recording early in the afternoon. But fair is fair in our competition because we're calling it as we see it right now. So Jack, you want UConn minus 22, or are you going over or under?
I'm going over.
Over, big over 144.
What's the over?
144.
144.
So it's 3 points higher than against CCSU. Luke, what do you got? I'll go last.
I think you got to give UConn the points. I think it's going to be ugly and close early on, but I think just the athleticism and overall depth is going to win us over for the points. 144. We just put up 100 last night. Got to expect 80 from us tomorrow. So probably go over.
Then
give UConn the points and take the over too.
Okay.
Just want to interject here. It stinks. They used to have the wing deal with Buffalo Wild Wings. If you went to the games, you get if they scored 82 points, you get like a free small basket of wings at Buffalo Wild Wings.
I forgot about that.
And there were many years. There were many years where we didn't really get that a lot. Just in the Ali years, towards the end of when his tenure, that we weren't as big of a scoring team.
The dark ages, you mean?
The dark ages, and even last year we weren't that big of a scoring team. And to see a game at Gamble that gets over 82 and not a single student gets free wings is just heartbreaking. I felt bad. I want wings.
All right, I hate to
greater than sliders, by the way. J. Tim's the GOAT, though.
Okay, I agree. For me, unfortunately, I am going to take the over with you guys. I think 144 is not high enough. Honestly, after last game, I kind of expected this to be at like 150, 155, and I think it would have made that over under interesting. But the fact that it's only 144. I mean, by the way, if you are betting on this game time, you should be like. That's going to be up. I think you're going to see it at 147, 148, and I think you're going to see UConn more like dropping 23 and a half maybe. There's like not any money on it right now because nobody cares about the UConn-UHart game tomorrow night, gambling-wise, because like there's so many other games.
Extra games.
That. Well, yeah, there's so many other games before that. You're not worried about the 8 o'clock one until you're, the 1, 3s, and 5s. You know what I mean? So I will take You know what? We're gonna go full consensus here. I like UConn minus 22. I don't know
There we
why it's
go.
less. So we're all going UConn in the over. So we think UConn points. I mean, you got to think UConn. I mean, if you're gonna take the over, you might as well take UConn because, like, why would you take UHart when UConn's only dropping 22? That doesn't make any sense. So I'm with you guys there. So we all are taking UConn minus 22 and over 144. And I will
Lewis is
keep
actually
this.
fading us. I heard he's fading us, so he's under, and UConn won't cover. That's
Okay,
what I
so
heard.
oh, is that what he told you?
Lewis
Okay, so
actually
Lewis.
picked Uhart for last night.
So
For
Lewis
the
is
for the
taking
50
under
viewers who are
144.
unaware of who Lewis is our fourth host.
Yes.
Yet to show, has been part of the production, but has yet to show to the actual recording.
Yeah.
So,
To be fair, we are filming this
I don't
on
know why he likes to
Thanksgiving.
talk
So
so much.
yeah. So Lewis is going to fade us. So right now the standings, I'll keep track of them for all loyal viewers out there. Jack 2-0, Luke and I both 1-1. Lewis 0-0, fresh start. Can start off hot here because if he fades us, he goes 2-0. Undefeated, rises in the standings immediately. So be a big week for him.
Huge.
Huge.
You know what, Jack? Why don't you give like your, you know how we went through how you think the game's gonna go? Why don't you do that again? Just because Luke went through his, and I'll go through mine as well.
Yeah, I think this game we're gonna come out hot. Like I think first 10 minutes we're gonna be up like 12. I think we're gonna get into the 20s in the first 10 minutes, and then I think it's gonna be a little slower from there, and then maybe a slow second half start, but we'll still maintain up 10. And I think once it hits that like 15-minute mark in the second half, we're kind of just gonna say, all right, let's do this. Put the burners on, maybe throw the big men in there, start banging down low with Whaley and Sanogo in at the same time, and then I think we're gonna run it up, score. I'm going to say final score will be 93 to 60. 93-63. I'll say that. 93-63.
93-63. UConn 30-point win in the over. All right. I agree with you that I don't think we're going to start as slow. I mean, even I remember listening to Donnie Marshall last night because he was commentating the game, saying that when he talked to Hurley and Danielle Marshall, they both said it's going to be ugly in the first half. I don't expect that as much in this game. I think the big dudes are going to be banging early. I think Carlton's going to get more minutes. I think Sanogo is going to get more minutes. Whaley's going to be in there because Whaley's Whaley and he's the man. Absolute workhorse. I think we go up big early. I think UCart kind of closes it before half. We have a decent lead. And I think the first 10, 15 minutes of the second half is, as you said, turn on the burners, absolutely dust these guys because, James Bouknight is better than anyone else on the floor in these games, like by far. We go up that 30, 35 points maybe, and then UHart kind of brings it in the last 5 minutes. Maybe Andrew Hurley gets 2 more minutes of game time.
What's the
all
line?
right, so the over under this week of Andrew Hurley is 1.5. So do you think he's going to get more than a minute of game time? I think that makes it more interesting.
I'm hitting the over.
Luke,
I'm hitting the over.
I'm going to be with you on the over. So you know what? Let's keep stats on Andrew Hurley minutes.
You're 1-0.
So this game we're going over under 1.5 or
3 minutes? Yes.
Yeah, I said he's going to hit the floor. I said he's not going to go for 3 minutes, but he's going to hit the floor. I think, if I remember right. So Jack's going over 1.5 minutes for Andrew Hurley getting in the game. So am I. And Luke is going under. Dude, why do you have no faith? Dude, he's an absolute baller. Like, what is wrong with you?
He dropped buckets on you. He dropped 50.
Like, and you know what? We're gonna say Lewis is also on the under just to make it even. A pitted rivalry right here. And also Andrew Hurley, if you ever want to come on the pod, feel free. Like Jack and I, big supporters, big fans of Andrew Hurley. Don't know why Luke's such a hater,
too.
but
Just don't know if he's on the court tomorrow.
Luke, we'll address it when he comes on the pod, dude, because you're an absolute hater. Going under 2 times, fading my boy. When he gets 2 minutes of playing, yeah.
Andrew Hurley, I got beef with you. Get on the pod.
Whoa!
Get on the pod, dude. Get on the pod. Get on the pod. Anyways, so we're gonna keep our Andrew Hurley minute tracker, over unders. We got our our gambling stuff in. Is there anything else we want to talk about today, Jack?
Nicknames I saw on Twitter. People were talking about, so if Whaley is the wrench. What is Sonogo? I saw some hammers being thrown around emojis, some hammer emojis. What are you guys' thoughts on that? You like the hammer, wrench and hammer?
I feel like Andre Jackson should be the hammer, isn't he? Because he dunks all
wait,
the time.
time out. Can I cut you off?
I think
Ian?
Andre Jackson for the hammer. Yeah, sure.
Player
do you got?
comparison. Saw someone
Ooh.
tweet this out. Someone disagreed with it, but they tweeted it out, and I love it. Sticks 2.0.
For Jackson?
Ooh,
Yeah, love it.
interesting. I like that. I mean, were his first points that alley oop on that fast break with Brendan Adams? Were those his first points of the game? Because that was a very
Yeah.
casual alley oop. That was the most casual alley oop I might have ever seen.
Yeah, but
This dude looked like he was playing in his driveway. I was like, okay, never mind. Andre Jackson's good. After watching it for that, I was like, never mind. Okay, he's still good.
yeah, but Brendan Adams also had a fast break with Sonogo, and Sonogo was 30 feet in front of him, and he said, "No, I'm going to take the ball." That was messed up. You got to give the big man the ball.
Was Adams the one who
Yeah, you
missed?
gotta
Wasn't
feed the
there
big
someone
guy.
threw a lob to JBF, Javante Brown Ferguson? Did that happen? Or am I making that up in my head?
You might be-
I don't remember, to be honest, but I was
That guy's got
I was
no
I was
handle.
going hard on Twitter at the end of the game because we were up 30 points.
Yeah.
So I was like, I gotta get on the John to see what John Rothstein's talking about. The carpet.
John
man, really.
Rothstein.
Rothstein, dude.
So,
Dude, I'm just gonna keep saying
That's negative.
I'm gonna keep name dropping people to get him on the pod. John Rothstein always welcome.
Jack Mack from Barstool.
Nah,
Jack Mack.
Dude, and Jeff D. Lowe. Jeff
D. Lowe, our
UConn
guys.
alum. Join some UConn alum, dude. Big shout out. Love Jeff D. Lowe.
Bobby
Come on the pod,
Moynihan.
UConn alum.
Yo, Bobby Moynihan, what's up?
Yeah. All right. This is our segment, our one-time only segment. Name drop as many people as possible. Get them on the pod. Bobby Moynihan, Jeff D. Lowe, Jack Mack, John Rothstein, Andrew Hurley.
Andrew
We're gonna
Hurley.
throw in Isaiah. We're gonna throw the wrench in there. Isaiah Whaley, too. Absolute horse. love.
Isaiah
Bob
Whaley,
from
come
Bob's
talk Naruto
Furniture.
with us. Come talk Naruto with us. Come on.
Bob from
Oh,
Bob's
true.
Furniture.
Yeah. Get him on here too.
Get him on
Get
the
his
pod.
voice actor on here too, dude. H. John Benjamin. Get your ass in here. Let's go.
So, with all
Anything
that talk
else?
about UConn basketball, the women's team is in quarantine, so there's only one game to watch tomorrow. So, Ian, do you have any games for anyone else to watch that people should pay attention to?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're looking at some afternoon games. You know, you're excited. It's like 6 hours for the UConn game. You're like, what do I do until 8 o'clock? Like, what am
You
I going
watch
to
this
do?
podcast first.
True. You listen to this, and then you watch Tennessee versus VCU. I'll be watching it. You should watch it. I think it's going to be pretty decent. I know VCU didn't look great, but honestly, neither did Tennessee. So I think it'll be scrappy. It'll be like a Nova BC game last night. You know, close to the end. They're going to make Tennessee earn the win. So, I always like watching games like that because, you never know. Give the VCU an opportunity to win. You never know. So watching Tennessee VCU before UConn, UHart.
Ian, let me give you one. It's on.
Give me one.
At the time of the recording, it's on right now, so I don't know if I can suggest it as a game to watch.
Go for it.
But
Go
my
back in
man
time,
Bobby
watch it.
Hurley is coaching against Villanova
Yes.
right now. Actually, what's
Hell
that score?
yeah. I knew you were going to say that, dude. Nova, AZ State. Dude, AZ State almost blew that lead against URI, but they put up 94. I was impressed. Like, if they can tighten the defense a little bit, because letting up 88 to URI doesn't bode well against
I think
Nova. But Nova looks like COVID maybe affected or a little slow.
that game's close
but
right now. Nova's up too, so.
Dude, I like AZ State just because like offense like crazy in that conference is gonna carry them pretty far. Like, it's just there's no defense in Pac-12 like ever. Like basketball, football, literally any sport. So like you might as well just go full offense and
Points,
put up 90
points,
a
points.
game. Literally points. I mean, okay. So by the way, do you think this weird year is affecting defense? Because when's the last time you saw that many 100-point scored games in one day in college basketball?
Danny
can't
Hurley
remember.
literally said it. He said because of quarantine, because of recent quarantine, they didn't have time for it. And I think definitely because at the higher level, I mean, shooting a basketball, like you take a step back, but the ball's the same size, doesn't really change, but who you're playing against changes. So that's what really the step up is in defense and like playing better defenders. So I think defense is something that you really craft in college. And I think that like at the higher level, that's what's going to come through and be the crucial factor. I think it's a great thing to point out.
Yeah, that was so weird. Like, what did Illinois put up like 122 and just like doubled people's score? It was absolutely absurd.
Yo, why you turning your camera off?
Did I turn my camera off?
You know you did.
There was I'm sorry. I was checking the time. I didn't know the exact time, but it's a good time. It's always a good time. Anyways, so I
That
think
made no sense.
It's always a good time. Sorry.
any closing
Carly Rae
thoughts?
Jepsen, get her on the pod.
Yeah, that's another name drop.
All right. And so, all right, guys. You remember how we close it out?
They're not bad.
Well,